Today I'm going to be discussing a game I've really been looking forward to, the first ever English release of Moon. A self-described remix RPG adventure deconstructing well-established tropes, born from Japanese role-playing games of the 80s and 90s. Real quick before we begin, I've come to realize that Moon has become a very special game to me. It's a rare experience I want to take my time with as I complete it 100%, to let my thoughts settle before tackling a full analysis. This video then will be more of an introduction, giving my impressions and an overview of the first half of the game for those interested in playing but are still on the fence, or for those that perhaps tried to play it but just couldn't get into it. I'll also be discussing all of the ways in which Moon lives up to its status as an anti-RPG. With all that out of the way, let's get into the game, but not literally yet. The opening is something I think anyone can appreciate. It's pretty amazing. After sitting through a couple of logos and a rather disconcerting title screen, we see a child tiredly slumping towards his TV to play a video game. In a trippy shift of perspective, when the kid turns on his console, the television runs through the same logos we saw on Startup. The game he's playing is also called Moon. So now we're playing as a kid playing a game. A video game within a video game, which is kind of cool. The overt exposition is hilarious. It's pretentious, it's long, and it becomes so wordy that the text size eventually shrinks to fit everything. The kid even starts skipping it, poking fun at boring, superfluous fantasy game intros. Once the fake Moon actually starts, things seem normal enough. It's really your standard Japanese RPG, starring a medieval age hero sent on a quest to kill a moon-eating dragon. But before it can be challenged, the hero has to level up. To make that happen, and as expected from the genre, there are plenty of monsters to try and earn experience points from. With that in mind, very cleverly through the file select screen, we see the child's gradual progress in the game. He's nearing the end after around 20 hours of play, which is where we jump to. When the child playing as the hero one-shots the brilliantly named Penultimizer, the maximum level is reached, so he's more than ready to face the final boss. In fact, at this point he's too ready. The hero has far surpassed the dragon's strength, so the fight isn't even fair. In quick succession, he deals 9,999 damage without giving the beast a chance to fight back. Just as it's about to be pitifully slain though, the child's mom yells at her son to stop playing and to get some sleep. Unbeknownst to him, however, this is where the game truly begins. As the kid's then sucked into his TV screen, arriving in the real world of Moon as an invisible boy, which is what I'll be referring to him as for the rest of the video, at the exact moment the hero was first summoned by the king in his playthrough. At first, none of the other characters can sense Invisible Boy, except for an elderly woman that mistakes him for her grandson who died in an accident. Invisible Boy is taken in and given hand-me-down clothes, so inhabitants can make out the form of his see-through body. But he can't stay awake in this thought-to-be virtual space for very long. So what are you, the player, supposed to do? In control of Invisible Boy, you are tasked with playing this game opposite to how he played, and how everyone plays RPGs. You see, in the world of Moon, if you try and enter a character's private room, you'll be understandably scolded for barging in uninvited. If you check in on the flower shop owner at night while she's sleeping, you'll be lectured immediately after by a women's rights activist for being creepy. Because in real life, it would be. When you think about it, a lot of what we've accepted as video game logic is strange, and would obviously be frowned upon in the real world. Do you personally go barreling into people's bedrooms to rummage through their belongings for treasure? If lowly, not-so-threatening monsters roamed our forests, would you be able to slaughter them without a second thought? No, you wouldn't, but that's what this world's hero is doing. Some video games try to absolve this gray morality by having your enemies be the literal spawn of evil that needs to be eradicated. Or, if not born from the literal darkness itself, offering an excuse as to why they can't be saved. In my opinion, the Earthbound or Mother series is one that handles this especially well. Instead of being outright killed, the wild animals and humans of Earthbound that have fallen under dark influence are tamed and brought back to their senses, respectively. They just need a couple of whacks with a cracked bat first. Moon takes this concept a step further and removes violence in combat completely. Because you're not playing as the hero. It's not your responsibility to slay these creatures, and honestly, neither is it his. Monsters aren't even called monsters in this world. They're animals given fears, likes, and dreams of their very own. Despite this, not one of them has been spared, so it's up to Invisible Boy to try and revive them. Checking the corpses of these claymation-styled animals the heroes left littered all over Moon's world provide hints as to where you can find that creature's tethered spirit, and ultimately reunite it with its body. The main objective in Moon is to collect love by healing their souls, and the souls of all manner of creatures, including humans, by solving their troubles. This is how you level up, not by grinding for experience, but by becoming a better person. By doing selfless deeds, you're granted love, which is recognized by this mysterious queen appearing in your dreams. Leveling up allows Invisible Boy to stay awake for longer, which is essential in traveling further to explore this wide world, and to complete tasks that span several days. At first, he won't even be able to last a full day, which makes energy-granting food items like homemade cookies from Granby imperative. The start of the game can feel a little constricting and stressful because you'll game over by running out the clock. Invisible Boy will slump over and move sluggishly when he's about to pass out. So keep an eye out on that dial and make hopping into bed before that happens a priority, since sleeping is the only way to save your progress. If this seems frustrating, just be patient and don't worry so much. The anxiety of getting to a bed on time will not be a persisting problem for the rest of the game. Soon enough, you'll have more time to stay awake than you'll even know what to do with. And to make things easier, Invisible Boy will inherit another location to sleep at, which comes with a hilariously promiscuous plant that extends its roots to others in the world, granting a means of fast travel. Best of all though, there's an unlockable shop that sells a consumable item, instantaneously warping Invisible Boy to the last place he slept. I only wish there was some sort of equipable item that allowed for faster movement, as it can be a drag to walk for long stretches of the same areas sometimes, but the teleportation options definitely work to make it not such a big deal. As does the music, which I guess is also anti-RPG, because instead of one unchanging track that plays on the field, any song you collect can be added to a customizable playlist to stave off boredom as you walk or sit around for a timed event to occur, like waiting for this cactus to grow into a platform at night. Some characters even react to select songs you're jamming out to, which is necessary to complete a couple of puzzles. As for the soundtrack's quality, I have nothing but praise. The sheer variety in genre, style, and instrumentation is amazing. They've been thankfully remastered in full stereo for the Switch release too. While we're on the topic, these reviews given by the vendor have some of my favorite flavor text in the game. The descriptors are funny and show that a great deal of effort was put into the localized script. I do like how character dialogue in general was handled as well, Yoshida the bird being my favorite. His speaking style sometimes spells out words as they sound, so you'll have lines like this that add a ton of charm. Getting back to the gameplay, if you couldn't tell by the footage, action is fairly minimal. I would compare Moon to The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask without the dungeon crawling, and fighting, obviously. With Moon, it's all about the side quests, which were the best part of Majora. Both games feature a day-to-night time cycle that loops, with troubled characters following a routine you can track to learn and eventually cure what ails them. By meeting certain requirements and speaking with characters at the right time, you can learn a lot about them or the game world itself. It's funny because before Majora's Mask settled on its 3-day time cycle, there were development plans for a full 7, just like this game. If only a giant dragon could eat Termina's moon. In a way, even spending time with and getting to know random NPCs like this is anti-RPG. To explain myself, there aren't any filler characters with throwaway dialogue in Moon. This story doesn't revolve around the hero, and anyone considered unimportant to his quest is given the spotlight instead. One such character with a great amount of depth is this castle guard. He's a divorced dad who never fulfilled a promise to his son, to build a toy airplane for him that can stay in the air for over an hour. So every week he flies his attempts and gets a little further along, but only if the player checks in on and encourages him. He also promises never to gossip or reveal the inner secrets of the castle he protects, and he upholds that vow, but only when he's sober. Following him late at night to Wanda's bar reveals he's more than willing to speak his mind after a few drinks. This is where some of the heavier storytelling is explored. Showing off the king's card gets him ranting about how their ruler loves to feed his precious birds, but not his own subjects. He'll question what happiness is and what love is, until he ultimately decides that family is the most important thing to him, even though he may be separated from his partner. That's raw, that's real, and Moon is unafraid to tackle these themes. A few hours into the game, there's little question as to where you should be going and what you need to be doing to progress. There'll be a constant flow of saving animals and helping others, but you will hit a point where you've seemingly solved all the problems in an area, even though you haven't. That's when solutions become more cryptic. At first, what specific day of the week it is doesn't really matter, as there'll be souls to save that do the same thing every day, so you'll probably clear all of those first. But later on, you'll come to understand that there is a full week's rotation to track for a reason. Some characters change their pattern on certain days, while events like the fishing tournament are only made available once per week. Take the game's advice and jot down some notes, or snap a few screenshots. I did both, as dialogue and diagrams can be more helpful than you'd think. Make sure to take your time with Moon. Listen to everyone in the game and outside of it if you need help. There's an active Discord server full of fans eager to answer your questions and share secrets. There's a full scan of the original instruction booklet that was included with physical PS1 copies back in the day, posted on Onion Games' website fully translated too. They even recommend you look it over. This game was made before the age of tutorials, where developers assumed you'd read and get a feel for the game before playing after all. To wrap things up, looking at Moon as just another video game is honestly a bit of a disservice. Moon is an experience, a commentary on games, and in many cases a test of the human heart. I couldn't stop playing. I wanted to see what this was all leading up to story-wise. And I'll just say without spoiling anything, the journey is well worth the time investment. It's brought me similar emotions to Earthbound, and how that game made me feel the first time I played it 10 years ago. The uniqueness, the surprise, the humor, and the rawness of characters and scenarios. Moon is not going to be for everybody, but I highly recommend it to those with patience, looking for an imaginative, intimate experience that'll have you thinking about the game's world long after the console's powered off. The next time I talk about Moon will be whenever I've finished it 100%. So until then, when I explain the game's ending more in detail, thank you for listening, everybody. I'll see you next time.